Hey everybody, a new edition of Craft Brewed Sports is going to be starting up in just a minute here. This week we are drinking Double Citrus Imperial IPA from Funk Brewing. It's an 8% brew. It's got Valencia oranges, dank papaya taste, pine, heavy notes of mango and grapefruit, 4.09 caps on Untapped. Scott, this week, let's rate these beers on the NFL QB rating scale from Mitch Trubisky to Patty Mahomes. How you rating this one on initial taste?
I'm going to go solid Jimmy G. Not sure I trust him in the biggest game, but it'll get me there.
So you're saying this one has the juice?
It definitely has the juice.
It's got the juice.
Picked up what I was putting down.
Drew, on a scale of Mitch Trubisky to Patty Mahomes, where does this one fall?
Ooh, that's got a little kick to it. I'm gonna go with a little Matt Stafford here. I think that he's got quality, across the board, a little bit underrated, but not somebody you would bet the house on.
That's a solid rating. I am gonna go with Kyler Murray, little unproven right now, little wild card, and we'll see how it holds up. That's how I'm gonna go on this one. This episode of Craft Brewed Sports is starting up here in just a few seconds. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to share out the show. Make sure your friends are seeing it, and we will get started here in just a second. It is June 10th, 2020, ACF. If you don't know what that acronym stands for, that's June 10th, 2020, after Confederate flag. We now live in the year where the Confederate flag is banned in NASCAR, and I don't know what to think anymore. This is Craft Brewed Sports. We have a hell of a show coming up for you guys tonight. We are going to talk, we're going to do a little sip, chug, Drainpour game. We're also going to give you our power rankings, and Mookie's got some mad props for us. Scott, hanging out with me. Scott, how you feeling tonight, man?
I'm good. Just kicking it with my homies, Will Smith, Jackie Chan. What's up, fellas?
I gotta flip so that people can see exactly what you're talking about. That's amazing. Drew, how you doing tonight, man?
I don't know. It's going to be really hard to follow that up, but I'm feeling good, ready to get into this beer, get into some of these topics. It's going to be a good show tonight.
It's going to be a really good show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to share us out, subscribe, rate, and review if you're listening on the podcast. Help us out and get us in front of as many ears and eyes as possible. Again, awesome show tonight. I don't want to waste any more time. So let's get into On Deck. And On Deck, of course, brought to you by Dugout Mugs. We got the hookup for you, everybody. Father's Day right around the corner. And if you want to surprise your dad, be sure to hook him up with the Dugout Mugs mug. Go to dugoutmugs.com/craft. Get 15% off the order. Let your dad drink out of a bat just like we do here on the show. They got other things. They got wine. If your dad's into wine, they got wine glasses. There's bottle openers. Tons of cool stuff there. Dugoutmugs.com/craft. Hit them up. You get 15% off that order.
Hurry up and get that cherry wood.
Oh, dude, that cherry wood one is legit.
I was looking fresh.
When they showed that one, I was like, dude, that is one of the coolest mugs I have ever seen. It's such a cool color. All right, who do we got leading off on deck this week? Is it you, Drew? I think you're leading us off.
Yes, sir. I'm the leadoff batter today, and I'm going to tell you what, I'm coming out swinging, ain't laying down no bunch just to get on base. So we're going to start off the show this week talking about how OWGs be OWGing again. I think there was one owner that came out already and said it, but again, the Cardinals owner this week doubled down and said, baseball isn't very profitable. I mean, Jesus Christ, are we really going here again? You know, and the funny thing about it is that there is a bit of it too, that in this current climate, I could see how there's a situation where things are going to be tough. And I don't want to discount that, because, you know, maybe between 30 and 40% of revenue for baseball comes from local local deals, right? So ticket sales, concessions, things like that. Let's be honest, man, ain't no one going to baseball anyways. So the only people hurting are the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Red Sox, and the Cubs, with all their drunk idiots showing up 5 times a week to spend money in their crap ballpark and watch this boring sport take place. Like, this is just an excuse. This is just posturing once again of the owners trying not to pay the players for what they're trying to do. So, it's just funny to me how in this time when there's lots of people hurting, lots of people having to deal with, tough situations that one could never plan for or expect, that this dude is sitting here trying to say baseball is just not that profitable. Cool, bro. Then why don't you go ahead and sell your team and see how much that fetches on the market, and then we'll talk.
Well,
Like, I can't believe this.
When I saw that, and it was Theo Epstein from the Cubs was the other one who said it's not a very profitable adventure to own a team. Scott, do you remember what the Marlins sold for? Because they were the most recent team to be purchased, right?
I believe so. And wasn't it like $2 billion or something stupid?
Yeah, $2 billion that the Marlins went for. The team that can't get anybody into the stadium sold for $2 billion.
Right.
Not only that, the past two owners of that franchise have been shystier than shysty. So the fact that they bottomed out and like sold off everything that wasn't nailed down and then flipped it for, an insane profit makes me want to know where these guys are, what math they're doing.
I have no idea. I like to say that it's not a very profitable, and they're the way that they're trying to explain it away is they're like, well, we reinvest the revenue back into the team so we get better scouting and we put it back into players to try to help them. It's like, dude, you are still making money hand over fist. Nobody would own a team if you're not making a boatload off of it.
Well, see, and that's exactly it. You hit it on the head right there, man. Like, the only problem they have here is to blame themselves. Like, if you don't want to be spending $400 million for a player over, a 10-year span, then don't do it. They set themselves up. They got themselves in this problem. So don't come here whining at me about this weak ass shit. Like, come on, man. Like, you create the market. You guys, as a series of 30 owners who are already colluding a monopoly, like, figure it out. This is, again, them just trying to screw the players once again.
Not only that, you'd think that these guys would be lining up to sell. Like, when's the last time you heard any rumors about any of these franchises being on the block? Like, it's not as if they're just going up, for sale every week or anything. They know what they're doing.
So before the Marlins, was the last team that got sold the Nationals?
Was that the last one? Only because Major League Baseball
took
stake.
Right, they took over the Expos and they were like, "We're selling this franchise." Like, so if you look at the last two sales, the Nationals, which have been in the league for what feels like forever now, it's like the Expos don't even exist, and then the Marlins.
Oh God, I wish they did though. Those unis, man.
Dude, the Expo unis were legit. Absolutely crazy that this is. They're throwing this out, and the owners, we talked about it before, they're doing everything they can to try to get people on their side against the players, and this is just another thing that they're throwing out there like, well, we actually don't make a whole lot of money off of this, so we gotta cut their salaries.
Oh, it's absolutely trash. Like, and it's funny to me too, because Forbes put out an article about a month or two ago where basically it said, yeah, everything's plumbing, the world is going to shit, and baseball teams are increasing in value. That's all you got to know. You know what I mean? All they're trying to do is prey on us and be like, oh, yeah, let's use this like short-term little thing to claw back some power, despite the fact that everyone's going to overlook that baseball's not going anywhere as much as we wish it would. Like, it's going to be around for another 20, 30, 40 years, and value is just going to keep increasing because you know what people aren't going to stop doing? Getting drunk and going to sporting events. Period. End of sentence. That's why this show will be around for the next 20 years.
That's why this show exists.
Goddamn right.
Very good story.
I bet you we outlast baseball.
Nah, I think you might be right. We'll talk baseball a little bit later on when we get into our power rankings. But for now, I'm on deck. Here's what I wanted to talk about this week. Golf! From one OWG sport to another. Here we go, fellas.
Ooh.
We are leading it off hot and heavy here on deck.
Baseball and golf. Yep. I hope there's some new listeners. They're really in for a treat tonight.
By the way, Matt Barr calling out, Mook hates on baseball. Take a drink. So there you go, Mookie.
No.
Have been.
I hated on baseball owners.
Yeah, that's a fair point. He did. Good clarification. JB out as I talk golf, and that's fine. But golf resumes this week. They are going to be playing at the Charles Schwab challenge this week, and it is going to be a different look. We've seen little hints of this as we've had these exhibition matches with Tiger and Peyton and Phil and Tom Brady, and then we had the other match play where there's nobody in the gallery, and it's kind of weird to see, especially for golf. Like, you need that guy in the background yelling, "Get in the hole," as soon as somebody tees off. So it's weird to not hear that. But rather than piping in any type of artificial crowd noise or anything like that, golf is actually doing something a little different. They are going to try to continue the mic'd up players. So that way you can hear some of the conversations on the course. And then they're doing something that I found very interesting. They are taking a page out of the real world's playbook, and they're setting up a confessional at the middle of the round. So after the 9th hole, players can go into a confessional and answer questions on a screen about how they think the round's going, what they think's going on. It is unreal to me that we are now at a point where they're like, you know what, the real world, they got it right. That's what we're going to do to make golf more popular and to appeal to these young kids. We're going to tap into that real world demographic. Scott, Drew, does this make you want to watch golf more now?
Get in the hole.
Hell yeah.
That's all I'm here for. As soon as somebody tees off, get in the hole. That's everything else. We've talked about it multiple times before. Golf doesn't let you clap, too vigorously. They don't want you drinking on the course. I ain't got no time for them saying that they finally caught up with the times.
Wait, do you mean the players? They don't want the players drinking on the course, or the fans?
Wasn't it? Didn't we have a story a few months ago where they weren't selling beer at a certain course or a certain tournament for some really stupid reason?
You might be right. But I will tell you, having gone to several golf tournaments in the past, there is a lot of drinking on the course. Like the Masters, people are getting hammered at that tournament because it's dirt cheap at the Masters.
It is. They're smart about it.
Yeah.
They understand what people want.
Augusta sells you like a ham sandwich for $1 and a Miller High Life for $2, and they just let people get ripped, and it is fantastic.
Is it ham or is it spam?
Good question.
I'd be curious.
That I have no idea.
I'm here for this. The confessional booth, man. That's a brilliant idea.
That's a really good idea. I'd like to see other sports incorporate this. You talked about it a little bit last week, Mook, when you were talking about, Deshaun Jackson saying he wanted to see guys mic'd up. I think golf has shown that it can work with the right personalities mic'd up. Like Tiger and Phil in that match, those guys being mic'd up was really fun to watch because there was a lot of shit talk between them. If you can get the right personalities doing it, it could be really fun. It could also be super freaking boring.
I think what they got to do is they got to be smart about it and play. It's got to be one of the two extremes, right? Either someone who is out there just ranting and raving about their caddy giving the wrong yardage and how he's going to break his putter over his head in the parking lot or something like that, or go the other way with it and lean into it and get like really detailed and actually analyze the shots and stuff like that. Because I think that's when sports really succeed. Kind of what I liked about the XFL is getting into the weeds with the players and the coaches and learning about the sport that way. I think that's another option to actually draw fans that wouldn't be Scott.
Nah, just give me all the shit talking. They're not talking shit. Like, I want Tiger to go in there and be like, these motherfuckers, like, actually think they can beat me. Like, I mean, this version of Tiger, and maybe it's not so out there, but I just want, like, just mad shit talking. Like, guys being behind Tigers, like, man, I can't believe this motherfucker. Like, how are we going to let a black guy always be at the top, man? This isn't right.
It's 2020, Scott. Come on now.
Yeah, and they just got rid of the Confederate flag in NASCAR. So what are we talking about?
Progress, baby.
How old is
Progress.
NASCAR, though? Come on. they old as mayonnaise. That shit never expires.
Shout out to Josh in the comments calling out the Ohio shirties from Chillicothe. Thanks for tuning in, Josh. Appreciate it. Scott, the ever famous Scott Skrzyzewski with his fact checking on us. As always, we appreciate you tuning in, Scott, and keeping us honest. He said the Royals were sold this year, and teams sold since the Nationals other than the Marlins is about 8, including both the Reds and the Braves. So there you go. We didn't.
I saw his comment, and I didn't really I didn't consider the Braves much of a sale. I know that they were technically, but it was one of those things where they're just kind of like moved over. Like, it's not an official, like, big publicized sale. And if the Royals were sold, who did they sell them? Did they sell them at a garage sale? Like, when did that happen?
I don't remember the Reds being sold. Like, I feel like maybe it just
Right, didn't
seems like
Castellini just walk in and stage a coup?
well, that's what like. I know Lindner had it, and then Castellini took over. I just thought it was just like, here, this is yours now. I didn't.
Well,
Right,
no.
that's kind of how it was for the Braves, where they're just like, here, Liberty Media, we're just kind of giving this to you. It's like
See, but
you've
that's-
got most of the stakes with Turner TV anyway, so.
Well, that's different though. With the Reds, you know, Lindner's a smart businessman, and he's not going to be in a business that's not profitable. So that's why he got out.
Wow, Mook. Wow,
I'm just
shots
saying,
fired. Shots fired.
Baseball's not a very profitable sport,
Hey,
so that's why he
most
got out.
importantly, though, I know who wasn't sold: the Mets. I love the Wilpons, baby. As long as they stay there and own the Mets, everything's good.
You know what you know what reality show we need to have happen is we need to have the Wilpons have a reality series with God, what's his name? What's the Knicks owners? That turd.
Dolan.
Yeah.
The Wilpons and the Dolans. Ooh.
Dolan, the Wilpons. We need a reality show where they're just like hanging out in New York doing New York things.
And fans are
watch
just
them be terrible people.
Dolan's just trying to get his sweet band off the ground, and everybody's ignoring him, and he's getting people thrown out of Madison Square Garden. That would be a good show. I shot the load early. Sorry, Scott. You are on deck. What do you got this week?
He's back, baby. I know we went a whole week without some MJ news, and I'm sorry, but he's back this week. And this time, I mean, we're doing baseball, golf, and now fishing. What the hell show are we doing? But this week, MJ competed in a tournament down in North Carolina. Big shocker, but it's the Big Rock Blue Marlin tournament. And he actually pulled in a 442-pound marlin, which
That's big.
Yeah, which is huge, but it's not even big compared to what took home the gold last year. Last year, a 900-pound fish was caught.
Dang.
So he's only halfway there. But the details on this story are fantastic. First of all, Jordan has a yacht, and it's 80 foot long, and it's called Catch 23, which is one of the most awesome names
Solid name.
for a boat. The fact that he caught the 442-pound marlin, most people would be super psyched. In super MJ fashion, dude was disappointed because it's like only the 5th largest one caught at the tournament so far, which means he doesn't place and he'd get no reward for it. So he was already talking about going back out there and trying to do the tournament. If you win, it's $1 million prize money, which is fun because, you know, that's like what MJ carries around in his pocket. And, you know, I'm guessing the rest of the people that compete in this tournament could really use the money. The fact that MJ's out here like, nah, I'm going to take that money. I want that money. I got to win this. It doesn't matter what it is. All about the competition. Yeah, but the fact
How many
that,
side bets did he have rolling on this one? That's what I want to know.
Seriously. But, yeah, no, 500-pound marlin was caught.
Where did he come in this year's tournament? Like, was he? I know you said 900 was the record, and this was only like the 5th largest. Did he win this tournament? Did he get?
No. This was only
competition?
the fish, the 5th largest one. The tournament's still going on.
Oh, okay. So he could still catch something else.
How long does this shit last?
Right.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but it's been running in Morehead City since 1957. Features Morehead, yeah.
Giggity.
Features 205 boats from around the world. So it's not just local North Carolinians, you know, trying to catch a big fish. People from all around the world. But this is the first time that Jordan's actually participated in this.
So what I want to know, Scott, because I know you've done some bang up research here. How many of his deck crew did he fire after he realized that 400-pound marlin was 5th placed before he went back out?
I'm not sure, but I'm just hoping that what's his name? I can't remember. Do you guys remember the dude's name with the white dude with the no, not Ho Grant. We know Ho Grant was nowhere near that boat. I was thinking about the one of the security dudes, the white dude with the Jerry curl, the one that did Jordan shrug when he was
shrug
at the bets. Yeah, I want to know
name.
if he was on the boat. That's all I want to know.
Oh yeah, he was probably responsible for putting the limes and the Coronas and hand him out.
No doubt, and somewhere shrugging shoulders.
Tyson, you shut the hell up talking trash about the NHL draft. Get out of here.
But yeah, I was just excited that Jordan somehow made his way back in the news, and this is all with an ongoing theory of mine that how much Jordan news did we have prior to the documentary, and now it's like all the Jordan news, like it's just trickling out.
I'm here for this though.
Like
Well-
next week, I think this is going to be something where I have material every week. Like next week, he's going to go in and punch somebody at a McDonald's or something.
You
Like,
jinxed it,
just
bro. You
staying
jinxed it.
relevant
Jordan's about to
news.
go into a cave now. He won't emerge again. You'll never see
No.
Michael Jordan again now because you just
There's no way.
you just put the
All right,
craft
hold on, I
brew
gotta add
sports
some for
jinx on
later.
him.
Hold on, though. I'll be right back.
Was Jordan actually on the boat, or was this one of those things where it was just his boat, so he hired
No,
a team?
no.
and
He
sent him
was
out there?
on the boat. Like he helped
Dude,
as far as like,
okay,
pulling it in. Or
So we
whatever,
watched that documentary. We saw what a terrible teammate Jordan is. You know he's the worst captain ever. Like he has to be such an asshole to deal with on that boat. Would you want to sail with Michael Jordan?
100% yes.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you what, man, he definitely has like the best stocked boat in terms of the booze. The booze and the stogies, like it is a fun time to work on that boat because he's probably got like 2-3 dudes doing the work and the rest are people just hanging out and chilling with Jordan.
That's fair. That's fair. This has
Also, the answer to any question you ask, would you want to do insert anything here
Jordan.
with Jordan? And the answer is yes.
All right, well, there you go. Scott wants to bang Michael Jordan. This has been On Deck, brought to you by Dugout Mugs. Scott hit the shrug, too, right at the end.
I know nobody could hear that on the podcast, but shrug emoji.
Dugoutmugs.com/craft for 15% off your order. No links, no codes. Why do I mess that up every time? Come on, Mike, get it right. Dugoutmugs.com/craft.
You got one job.
15% off your entire order. All right, fellas, we want to play a new game on the show, and this actually isn't a new game. This was inspired, while Scott was off, Chris America, a good friend of the show, was hanging out with us. We played Around the Horn with Chris America. He came up with this game, Sip, Chug, Drainpour, which is essentially the Craft Brewed Sports version of Marry, Fuck, Kill. Also, do you guys say Marry, Fuck, Kill, or is it Fuck, Marry, Kill? Because I've read a lot, and I feel like it's
Fuck Mary
it's
Kill
always-
sounds
it's
like
always-
you're fucking Mary, so you
It's,
can't
it's
go
always
that way.
fuck, marry, kill.
you go Fuck, Marry, Kill.
No.
Yeah, it's FMK, baby.
See, I always
Go back to Toledo.
Okay, I've always gone Marry,
Okay.
Fuck, Kill. I don't have point being, Sip, Chug, Drainpour is what we're doing here. Tying it into the beer. So to marry someone is Sip, to fuck someone is a Chug, and then obviously kill is the Drainpour. So here we go. We're gonna go through a couple of these. We'll start in the NFL since we were talking about rating these beers on the QB scale. Let's do a couple QBs. Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray. Scott, why don't you go first? Sip, Chug, Drainpour, Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray.
Just spilled my beer all over my table. So I'm gonna
Dude,
go
I did
ahead.
like 20
and-
minutes ago.
It's just foaming all over my table.
Okay,
This
it's good that I'm not the only one because this can come
Mine-
up later. 'cause
mine
this
foamed
beer will
up,
not
too.
Stop foaming.
Mine foamed
no,
up, too,
it's
yeah, yeah.
everywhere.
It was
Yeah.
brutal.
But I'm gonna go with I'm gonna chug some Kyler Murray. I'm going to sip on Baker Mayfield, and I'm going to Drainpour the kid who hasn't even played a down in the NFL yet.
You son of a bitch. That is incorrect. The correct answer on this is Sip Joe Burrow because he is going to be the greatest quarterback to ever play in the NFL. Joe Burrow is anointed. He's the anointed one. So you have to sip that dude and stick with him forever. You chug Kyler Murray because he's fun. You know, what's going to happen with Kyler Murray? I already said that at the beginning of the show.
Oh no, you
Who knows?
absolutely chug Kyler Murray because once they figure things out and he gets the old Russell Wilson treatment where he becomes the highest paid player. Like once he gets off that rookie deal, all things are downhill for.
That's true.
Cardinals.
So Kyler Murray is the chug, and then you Drainpour Baker Mayfield because Baker Mayfield is a garbage quarterback. I don't have Joe here to rein me back in. He's terrible. His whole thing this year about like, oh, I'm going to work in silence this year. Okay, whatever, Baker, the touchdown maker. Shut the hell up. Grow your dirty mustache and see what you can do. You are now the fourth best quarterback in the AFC North. Lamar Jackson, I'll still give Lamar number 1 in the AFC North. Joe Burrow number 2. Mason Rudolph number 3, Baker Mayfield number 4. Drew, Sip, Chug, Drainpour, Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray.
All right. Well, with that bang up analysis handled there so far, I'm going to chug Joe Burrow Because again, the kids, he's working stuff out. Yeah, he hasn't played at all. So I'm not down on him. I'm not signing up for life. It is what it is. I'm gonna sip on Kyler Murray because man, have you ever seen a quarterback do more with less in this league? I mean, the Cardinals are
Yes.
trash and they got a terrible coach to go with it, but he's got a really nice house. So I
Does
think
have
Kyler,
Cliff
he's the guy
Carl.
I'm going to sign up for the next 3 to 5 years until I get fired. I can write out the rest of my coaching contract. And then I'm for sure going to drain poor Big Play Baker. Because, I mean, dude, I loved his shtick early, but man, you got to show me something. At least change it up. Do something different. Instead of always throwing interceptions, at least like to fumble the ball once or twice. Like, get out of here with that. I'm sick of Cleveland thinking they're going to be relevant by doing something splashy. Like, just stop.
More importantly, I found out this week that Kyler Murray's part Asian. Like that's my big
Yes.
learning moment for the week was during the Bruce Lee 30 for 30 with those little testimonials they have prior to and coming back from commercials. Kyler Murray chimed in and was like, yeah, being part Asian. I'm like, wait, what? So that was the biggest takeaway from everything Kyler Murray this week.
Matt Barr saying he would sip Joe Burrow, chug Kyler, and then pour Baker. Thank you, Matt Barr. And then Robert Taylor agreeing with that. But Robert's saying that Joe Burrow is going to be a bust, pointing out that he at least waited until Mahomes played an NFL game before standing for him. Sorry, man. Joe Burrow is the anointed one. I'm sorry. That's not my fault. I didn't do it, but it's the truth. Let's do a little MJ version of Sip, Chug, Drain, Pour here.
Oh, yeah.
Scott, we're going to go to you first on this one because I don't think you've seen this one thrown in there.
He's the expert, too.
Drew just updated this one for us.
Oh, we're
Sip,
tweaking all
Chug,
kinds of
Drain,
stuff live.
Pour, Bulls Jordan, White Sox Jordan, or Wizards Jordan?
I'm drain pouring Wizards Jordan.
What?
And from there,
What?
I'm sipping on Bulls Jordan, and I'm chugging White Sox Jordan.
Drew, you sound like you disagree.
And to be fair, it wasn't really White Sox; it was Barons.
It was Barons, yes. Yeah, it was the Barons.
No, it's White Sox. He played in the league.
Drew, what do
MLB,
you
the show.
sounded like you were disappointed in the drain pour of Wizards Jordan.
Yeah, that's absolutely wrong. Like
No.
you sip Wizards Jordan because how like
What?
You're
No, yeah.
marrying Wizards
absolutely.
Jordan?
You would stay
Yeah,
for
'cause he's
life
that, no,
with
because think about
Wizards
hold on
Jordan?
now. Hear me out. Because what it is he's the old
Mute
dude.
Drew.
He's the old. Man, I'll meet your ass over here. You ain't got no mute power. Come on now, get it. Do this real quick. There we go. Oh shoot! No, I forgot I made Mike the host. There we go. Reclaim that and mute Scott. Perfect. Okay. Anyways, now that we're back on track here. No, think about it though. Like Wizards Jordan was the best Jordan because he's the old dude that shows up to the pickup game. Ain't no one want him on their team. Dude then goes and drops 20 points in the first to 25. They still lose because the rest of his team is trash, but he embarrasses all the 18, 20-year-olds being a 45-year-old dude. I mean, come on. The guy was ancient showing up these kids in a game that requires the peak athleticism to be able to perform at that level, and he was still able to do it. He literally came out of retirement just because he was sick and tired of people not respecting his name. He showed up, dropped buckets on a trash team. I mean, what more do you need to know to sip that?
All right.
Now,
I hear your argument.
Let me just finish. I'll
Okay.
drain pour the Barons. I'll correct myself there. I'll drain pour the Barons, and then obviously I'm going to chug the Bulls Jordan because I mean you can't hate that, but do you really want to stick around that for life?
I hear your arguments. I understand where you're coming from. You are dead wrong.
Seriously.
There is no way you sip the Wizards Jordan. You're partially right.
No, because then he's made for life too. Because he's gonna take care of me real good.
Nah,
Then.
you drain poor Barons Jordan because nobody cares about minor league baseball Jordan, except for the people who watched him play at that time. And even then, they were just like, "Well, that was fun. We saw Jordan get
And
a
me,
hit."
who has a Jordan Barons jersey.
until they started he basically went Pedro Serrano, and as soon as they started throwing him curveballs, he just bottomed out. So get rid of Barons Jordan. You sip Bulls Jordan because that was the heyday. That was the Jordan being Jordan.
That is the creme de la creme.
Yeah, and then you chug Wizards Jordan because it's nice for a short time, and it's like, oh, hey, that was a thing that happened, and then it goes away, and you don't have to think about it ever again. All right, let's.
We can't all be right.
Let's move on. Let's do a little MLB here. 1994 strike,
what's up, Will Smith?
steroids, and sign stealing. 1994 strike, steroids, and sign stealing. Sip, chug, drain, pour. Mookie, lead us off on this one.
Whew. Well, I'm gonna drain pour sign stealing because who gives a shit? Honestly, like, get over it. And I'm assuming you're referring to the Astro sign stealing aspect of it, because all the other stuff they accept. So that's dumb. I don't even want to talk about that. I guess I'm gonna chug the steroids aspect because it was really fun, and then it got really old and tiring when that topic dragged on for like 10 years, and like, who cares anymore? Like, they were all cheating. Great, good for them. I'm gonna sip the 94 strike because, like, that's the best part about it, right? We missed an entire season. Well, not entire season, but we missed a World Series, and the owners didn't seem to bat an eye. Yet now baseball all of a sudden magically is unprofitable in the day and age where sports are even more profitable than they were 30 years ago. So I just like that because that leans in my point earlier about these OWGs, and you just shut their damn mouth and write a check. Because you know what the other thing is? Those assholes are probably getting them stimulus checks. I bet you they figured out some way to figure this shit out with their income taxes.
Oh, you know
they caught that income. Yeah, they caught that stimulus.
They're like Jordan out on that boat. Like, nah, I'm getting mine.
Right? I hope Jordan got stimulus check too. He deserves it. He's a good man.
I'm agreeing with you, Drew, to drain pour sign stealing, because in the grand scheme of things, who really cares about that? Like, get rid of that. Whatever.
They didn't beat no puppies.
I am going to sip steroids only because that was the heyday for baseball for me. That was when it was most entertaining. That McGuire-Sosa race, just beautiful. I wish they would still have steroids in baseball. Like, bring them back. Make
that 30 for 30 coming up.
I know. I
Sunday.
can't wait for that one. That's going to be all next episode. We're just going to talk about nothing but McGuire and Sosa next episode.
All right. Well, so wait, remind me to watch that shit then, because I'll forget.
And then I'm going to chug the 1994 strike because it's like, all right, labor disputes happen. We got one and get rid of it, and now we're going to have another one, so I might as well get used to the taste of it. Scott, what do you got on this one?
I am drain pouring the strike shortened season. I hate that there was no baseball, or no World Series that year. I hate the fact that they couldn't. Yeah, no, I mean, I can't. It would have just been another one they lost or came up short at anyway. That's not that has nothing to do with it. It's just the fact that there was no World Series. I hate labor disputes. I hate when seasons get canceled. I hate everything that's going on with baseball right now with owners and players bickering back and forth. It's complete bullshit. So I'm drain pouring the hell out of labor disputes all day, every day. I'm sipping on some steroids because it's when baseball was at its finest. I mean, I don't really give a crap. Like, I mean, I like the debates of guys being on it, guys not being on it. A-Rod being a super cheater because he used it, but yet some of these other guys, me just being like, it's whatever. And then I guess I gotta chug the sign stealing, mostly because it's part of the game, and elaborate schemes. It's probably not even the worst thing that's happened. It's just one of the worst things that's happened recently that anybody got caught for. It's kind of like steroids. They were all using greenies and amphetamines and all kinds of stuff, and then it just became a thing with steroids. So yeah, that's the route I'm going.
I still think there's so much of it where everyone else is pissed that they didn't think of it.
Well, I think you might be right about that.
For sure.
I think there's absolutely something to that. And I also think nobody on this one has a wrong answer. I think everybody's answers were correct. The only person with the wrong take on this one is JB in the comments, who says drain pour all three. JB is incorrect on that take.
Is that what he was saying? I thought he was pouring one specific one, like really, really hard.
No, he poured all three options. All right, last sip, chug, drain, pour for the week here. We're going to go 80s movies. It was announced this week that Bill and Ted is coming out with a new movie. So we've got a new Bill and Ted coming out. So that made me think, let's go some 80s movies and see which one of these we want to sip, chug, and drain pour. Drew, I'm coming to you first on this one. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Back to the Future, Goonies. This is probably the hardest one we've had.
I was just going to say, you're a dick for calling me on first on this one. That is not easy. Oh, man. Look, this is one of those painful situations where you've got, like, basically Giselle and her two sisters, and you're like, look, I can only fuck one of you, marry one of you, and then Well, one of you's got to go.
That is the game. Thank you for
So
Thank you
now
for
that I've-
recapping the whole
Look,
thing.
hey, I believe in the industry they call it vamping. Shit. All right. So I think it's gotta be you sip Bill and Ted, you chug Goonies, and you Drainpour Back to the Future. Because look, man,
You're
any
done.
movie where
You're
they make
done.
4 of them, like
Mute
it
him.
can't be that.
Mute
good.
him. Mute him.
wow.
Mute him.
Unreal. Wow.
Yeah.
Scott, I see you're already in the comments.
Yes,
replying to
because
Matt
you
Barr.
sit Back to the Future all day long. Back to the Future is easily the best movie of these 3. I don't even care what you do with the other 2. I'd drain pour both of them. Like I just want to have a nice quiet family with just me and Back to the Future, and we're just happily married. I don't need to do anything else with the
Yeah,
other
but
2.
Michael J. Fox, he annoyed me at some points to that movie, man. Like, we get it, we get your situation, man. Just take care of business. Quit being all basic about it.
Okay,
Hang on.
anyway, I'm drain pouring Goonies, and I am chugging Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
I'm blown away by the hate that the Goonies are getting. Matt Barr, Scott is drain pouring Goonies.
You know why?
JB
Because
drain
this all
pours
goes back to
Goonies.
the whole
So many.
adventure flick conversation we had.
No,
But
this
dude, the Goonies gave you the truffle shuffle.
the Goonies
So?
absolutely okay. You are right, Scott. Back to the Future gets sipped. It's such a perfect movie that stays
Perfect.
sipped. And if you put any Back to the Future -3, I wouldn't sip Back to the Future 3, but Back to the Future 1 and 2 as a combo. Oh my God, it's just chef's kiss, perfect.
Back to the Future 3 doesn't even count. It's one of those. It's it's Jordan in a Wizards uniform. You're just like, oh, okay, yeah, it exists, but I don't need to talk about it.
Back to the Future gets sipped. I am chugging the Goonies because, youth
The
action
Goonies,
movie,
man.
guys. A youth action
Yeah.
movie? Come on, you gotta chug that. And then I'm gonna drain
No.
pour Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, only because And Sarah chiming. Thank you, Sarah, calling out Chunk or Oh God damn it, never mind. Forget I blew this already. Thank you, Drew.
You're welcome.
Hey, you want to explain the game again, Drew?
Yeah, so what you want to do is you're going to take these 3 options you have here, and you want to rank them 1 through 3, right? And so the one that you like the best is going to be the one that you sip because you want to marry it. You want it for life. The one that's kind of second in the middle, though, you're going to chug it because it's going to give you a really nice feeling for a minute, but then you're going to get a little cramp in the gut and maybe some beer shits later, and that's not the best, but you'll chug it. And the one that's just the worst, you're going to pour it down the drain because it's absolutely worthless and just shit. You don't want nothing to do with it. Kind of like Back to the Future. So
Okay, now that everybody knows
know.
the rules of the game,
Awesome.
I'm going to ask everybody who's participated in the comments to sip, chug, and drain pour the 3 of us.
Yes,
Go ahead.
yes.
Do yours.
Sip,
Wow.
chug, drain pour, the host of the show. I would love
God,
to
I
see.
really wish Joe was
I
here.
cannot wait for this to come through. While you guys
This
are
is
doing
going to
that,
be fantastic.
this is good. Yes, thank you, Scott. I'm glad you did that. That's a well done.
I'm so glad I have an appointment with my therapist tomorrow. This seems to work out really well.
Well, you guys are chiming in with your sip, chug, drain pour on myself, Scott, and Mookie.
I just like watching shirtless young boys.
Be sure to head on over to morelabs.com. Use the code SPORTS. Get 20% off your order at More Labs. They got the life hack pack. You can get stuff that's going to help you focus, stuff that's going to help you sleep, and stuff that's going to help you get over your hangover. Hit them up, morelabs.com. Use the code SPORTS. Get 20% off your entire order. I'm
Hey,
afraid.
can I do a quick plug for More Labs?
Yeah, absolutely.
These guys are lifesavers. Let me tell you what, man. Like even if you, because what I've realized is that you can never really go wrong with the morning recovery, right? Like even if you have a creeping suspicion you don't need it, you just take a quick one, pop it in, and you know what? You feel great the next day because the last thing you want is to wake up on Thursday with the weirds and have to deal with that all day long to get to Friday to feeling normal. Like at the end of the day, it's worth it. It's worth every ounce, man. And I'll tell you what, my liver's never felt better. So shout out.
Ringing endorsement from Mookie from More
All day, every day.
Labs.
You know, even with social distancing, I'm still going to make these business cards and get back out in the street at some point and start
You're just
pedaling around
breaking
again.
down
I love it.
everything for the listeners tonight.
You started this, guy, so
quick-
you better be ready for this the rest of the night.
Quick update. Matt Barr says he's going to chug me, he's going to sip Scott, and he's going to pour Mookie. JB says he'll sip Scott. He's going to chug the guy who hasn't been on the show for the last 8 weeks, Joe, and then he's going to pour both Drew and I. Keep it coming, everybody. Sip, chug, Drainpour.
I want to see Scott's
the
Venmo
host of the
history to see
show.
what happened in the last 15 minutes, because I can guarantee you that weighs in here.
I'm too
JB
OWG to have Venmo. I'm still
Yeah.
rocking PayPal.
I was gonna say Scott doesn't know what Venmo is. All right, fellas, let's do a little power rankings here.
Is that a ride-sharing program?
Everybody's doing power rankings. They all like to talk about what are the power rankings right now. I want to power rank the sports leagues as of right now, as of where we are in 2020. We're gonna go top 5. These are the Craft Brewed Sports top 5 power ranking of sports leagues. We're going to start with number 1. Normally we go backward. Let's go with number 1 first. Scott, who is your number 1 sports league right now?
The NBA. They're the ones who got affected, right there at the finish line. They only had a little bit of their season left just before everything, people started actually tuning into the games and the postseason got underway for the next 4 months. But they're the only ones who seem to have everything figured out. NFL had the luxury of, their season having ended, so they just had the offseason. But yeah, I'm going to go with NBA because I think they've handled it the best so far out of all of the leagues.
Drew, who is your number 1 in your Craft Brewed Sports power rankings of sports leagues?
In terms of how they handled the corona, or
Just
like
power rankings, baby.
What they're doing right now.
It doesn't matter. There is no rhyme or reason to power rankings. Who's number 1?
Oh, right. NFL.
Just rank.
Yes, exactly.
NFL. They print money. No, I lied. No, NFL, actually. I was going to go NCAA football because they print money, but no, they're not a league. They're just a bunch of power conferences, or not even conferences, but schools. Also, up yours, Will Sweeney. Your ass going to be gone in 3 years, because it's not bad enough for him to get fired, but they're not going to get another solid recruit. That team is going to be garbage, and he gone.
Bill definitely getting dragged right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm also going to go.
So. F those guys, man. They probably have Confederate flags in their locker room, those pieces of shit.
They probably do have Confederate flags and flags as well. I would guess
Whoa.
that was what Drew said. I'm just repeating. Don't get on me. NFL number 1. Scott, who's your number 2? Who's your number 2?
Moving on.
Number 2 for me is NHL. NHL has their postseason figured out. They're trying to get black people into the postseason any way that they can. And if I'm ranking them, somehow Detroit makes it, but they're not in real life. But
God,
yeah, I'm going with that. I'm going with NHL at number 2.
Drew, who you got at number 2?
I'm gonna throw one out there to the NBA. I think Scott had it on the head. NBA is increasing in popularity. They've become even more global over the last couple of years. I think they've got a model that works, and they're doing whatever they can do to get black people in the playoffs. Shout out Zion. So it's working out for them, and I think they're going to be a solid league going forward, because the best thing that's going to happen to them is when they figure out, oh wait, we should probably remove this stupid 1 year in college rule, so LeBron can play with Bronny. And I cannot wait to see that. I think we got to wait 3 more years maybe, and then that magic's going to happen.
I'm going to go NHL as my number 2 for the same reason Scott mentioned. They have come up with a solution. They are playing a full playoff, even if it is expanded and it's different from what they're used to seeing. But I would put NHL as number 2 in my power rankings. Scott, who is number 3?
NFL.
Oh,
but that's
keeping them low.
Not really because I want to put them up there. It's just because of what Drew mentioned, the fact that they print money and they're the most popular. But they've bungled everything and continue to bungle things and just stay on top. Bungled. Even this week when they finally admitted that they screwed everything up with the kneeling, Raj couldn't even be bothered to mention Colin Kaepernick's name. So that bumped them down a couple notches for me. So I'm going to go NFL reluctantly.
Solid reason to drop them from number 1 to number 3.
What do you think the NFL pays a year in just PR? I feel like they probably pay $50 to $100 million a year to PR firms just to figure out what the hell Robot Roger has to say at any given time.
They got to pay a ton just to keep covering up all their missteps. Drew, who's your number 3?
The MLS.
Oh,
yeah, I'm going there.
Big jump for MLS in this week's power rankings. Good Lord.
Big jump. Yeah, they're moving up the board. Their financials aren't stable. They were talking about a lockout earlier this week with their players and whatever, but I still believe at the end of the day, This is the grassroots movement that's happening in youth across America. This is going to be the sport that's moving up the boards. I love football to death, but it has issues in terms of parents feeling safe with their kids playing the game. Basketball is going to take the number one spot, no doubt, because kind of similar reasons. You can play with a small group of people. You don't need a bunch of equipment to do it. And soccer will move up into the second slot. I cannot wait for the way that people are going to be able to see that this compact schedule is going to work really well, especially in a situation where you're going to have nothing else to really compete with. I think the way it stacks up, basically what you'll end up having is you'll have the NBA and the MLS playing on live TV in front of a bunch of fans. Hockey will be there, but let's be honest, ain't no one going to watch that because we're not in Canada, which is unfortunate, but reality. And no one gives a shit about baseball anyways, as much as you want to, because I still don't think they're going to figure their crap out in time to have a legit season that everyone can buy into. So the MLS is moving up the rankings. They're getting things right with, the social aspect of it as well. It's the future of America. Y'all need to get on board. Come on. Plenty of room on the bandwagon, y'all.
Fair enough.
We got beer here.
Your sister, I got issues with your sister calling out the Bungles, and it is funny that she's pointing out it's weird that Drew loves soccer so much. You do have a very strange affinity for soccer. My number 3 is going to be the NBA for reasons mentioned before. The reason why I don't have them ranked higher is because of the conspiracy theory that they did what they could to get Zion into the postseason, and they have rigged this in a way that, all right, we're going to play 8 season games, and then whoever's in the top 8 goes in.
Though. You got to lean into it. The NBA where rigged happens.
Well, that's. I mean, I get it.
Jordan,
But
Jordan and gambling. I mean, it's all. Tim Donaghy. Like everything's rigged. That's
I'm dropping you for the conspiracy theory NBA. Scott, who's your number 4 league?
All right, guys, bear with me because I know I said a couple weeks ago that we should just shut it down and this isn't going to happen. Quit trying to make fetch happen. But at number 4, I got the XFL. When they come back stronger than ever
yes, sir.
This time next year, everybody's going to be like, damn, Scott was a visionary. And so
after
at 4,
Disney
I've
buys
got the
him.
XFL.
That's a spicy hot take.
Now, Scott, you know better than that because we don't look back on any of these shows.
Well, no, we are, because when we pool our money together and I stand at center field and this is the XFL, it's all going to be fucking worth it, man.
Yeah, that's true. That'd be nice.
Drew, who is your number 4?
Ultimate Tag. No, just kidding. My number 4 would be the NHL. Again, it's a sport that's near and dear to my heart. I love hockey, and Matt Barr, I know what action's like, and Americans do like it. But again, I'm leaning into what's going to be played by the kids. Hockey's not going to be played by the kids, but it's one of the best sports to watch live. And if they can take some of this time off to figure out how to make this stuff work on TV even better, #bring back the laser puck, then it's going to be fantastic. I mean, those dudes, they skate around, they pop fools in the face. They hit slap shots 100 miles an hour, and guys are going down there blocking with their nuts. It's amazing.
Blocking with their nuts.
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on, man. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs. Leave it on the line.
All right, my number 4 league in these power rankings, number 4, the PGA. And here's why, fellas. Real world confessional booths. Scott, who's your number 5 league?
Baseball, just because it's still there. Until it disbands, until it becomes so unprofitable and all these rich white guys are out on the poverty line. I guess it'll be the number 5 league. I still love it, but I'm a dummy. So
fair enough. Drew, who's your number 5?
I'm still gonna go with well, honestly, that axe throwing league is really catching on. I don't know if you guys have seen that stuff lately, but that shit's really entertaining because these dudes, they have personalities, like they live up to it. And the best part about it is they get to drink while they compete. So I'm hoping against hope. It's kind of like a NASCAR race, but like, someone might lose a hand and you get to see it. It's not like someone gets dismembered inside of a car.
My number 5 is the ACL, the American Cornhole League. Guys, anytime it's a sport where you feel like you can make it in the pros, it needs to be in your top 5. American Cornhole League is the way to go. Also, it's really weird to watch those dudes play with masks on. It's a very strange experience. But American Cornhole League has gotten into the top 5. They have jumped MLB in my book because they are back. All of the leagues that I mentioned are all back. MLB still not back. American Cornhole League, ahead of the MLB in my power rankings. Drew, Scott's got MLB at number 5, or he just said baseball. He kind of bailed out on it and said baseball.
Oh, if we're gonna do, what is it, the KBL, the KBO?
KBO?
Like, I get down with some of that because you know what they do.
No,
is
I mean like
get extra
baseball
points for
in
bad
all
flags.
of its forms. So I mean, even the Little League World Series is thrown in there. You know, stickball on the streets of New York,
Ooh,
like any type
stickball.
of baseball. Like just because like actual MLB is probably ranked like 50th.
Well, that's what I was going to
All
say.
right,
Where does
hold
MLB
on,
rank in our power rankings? Because MLB's got to be bottom. It's got to be behind everything else. Drew joked about Ultimate Tag earlier. Ultimate
I'm
Tag
dead
is
serious.
ahead
Ultimate
of
Tag's the
MLB
shit.
right now. I know. It's a
They've got-
fantastic. Who's your favorite tagger on Ultimate Tag?
Dude, they got neon lights all over the place. I like, what's her name, the Beast or whatever.
Beast.
real
The
big
Beast
girl. She
is
looks like an
solid.
Amazon.
I also like the Geek, only because it's like, dude, this is clearly not a geek. It's just you just put glasses on a guy, and he's not really a geek.
He's a free runner. There's ain't no way that he's an actual
Real quick
geek,
though,
'cause if
Mike,
he's
I don't
free-running.
go hard R with the tagger. I go tagger. So
No, that's respectable. You know,
yeah,
there's a big
like,
difference there.
Otherwise, it's a little suspect if you go.
I
Little
do want
close,
to switch this
all
up a
right.
little bit though. All right, so let's lean into power rankings, right? But let's go ball bat power rankings, right? So we got College World Series, College Softball World Series, Little League, Stickball, MLB, KBO. How you
Doesn't
ranking those
matter.
things?
MLB is at the bottom.
I was just
Put
gonna
any-
say
pull the
MLB
rest of 'em out
ends
of a
up at
hat.
the bottom.
Pull
No,
the
there's
rest
a
of 'em out
right
of a
answer
hat.
to this though, because I wholeheartedly believe Little League needs to be at the top of that list.
I would give you that. But I would put World Baseball Classic ahead of Little League just because
Holy
it's
shit!
better.
Wait a minute, did they announce is Little League canceled?
I think so.
It's got to be, right?
I feel like they would already
Because there's
be
like a 4-month buildup to Williamsport.
yeah, they should
Oh
be.
no, that got canceled like 2 months ago. Yeah,
Shit.
it was. In fact, when I remember when I got the text, it said it was the first time it had been canceled in the
Oh yeah, since
World
like the
Series
World
history.
War or something, right?
No, it's the first time it's ever been canceled. Like it's only been
Damn.
going since I think 57 or something along those lines, but it said
Okay.
it was the first time that it had ever been canceled, and
Dude, that
something that
sucks,
wasn't
man.
like a war shortened year or some bullshit like that. But
That's
yeah,
kind of crazy.
So wait, we held it during the Korean War.
sure.
Sure.
Seems convenient. The South Korean teams always crush fools, man.
You know what that sound means, guys? That means it is time for Mookie's Mad
Oh,
Props.
yeah.
And in case you missed it, that was
Ching, ching, bada bing.
Mookie. What do you got for us this week? What are we going to do to make some money with your Mad Props?
Oh man, I got all kinds of opportunities for you folks tonight. I hope you got your notepads out. I hope you got your bookies on speed dial here. We got all kinds of good stuff here. All right,
I'm gonna
so,
drink the beer off my table while you're doing this. Go for it.
Yeah, man, I gotta be honest. I soaked it up with a spare jersey I had laying around because this shit was going everywhere. But yeah, whatever. Anyways, so we already talked about earlier today the PGA Tour. They're coming back this weekend. Obviously doing no fans and respectable social distancing and whatnot. But the best part about it, as Mike said, is we got the confession booth, right? So the first prop I have for you guys is: will a golfer complain about background noise? And the hot take right here, the hot pick, put your money down, put these ducats on this, is take the yes. Some golfer will complain in the confession booth at a negative 135.
So
Go
do
ahead,
you
take
think
that is money in the bank.
do you
Get
think
it on
they're
your-
going
in
to
your book right
complain
now.
facetiously? Like who's going to complain about background noise in a tournament where there are no fans allowed?
Oh, dude, you know someone's gonna be bitching about someone deciding to mow their lawn at a weird time, or like, oh yeah, the boom tower was swinging around and had a creak. Like, come on, these dudes try to find every excuse to blame someone else for their shit ass approach shots. So go ahead, put that money on the yes at negative 135.
All right, what do you got? What's your next bet for us, Mookie?
The next one I've got for us is we talked about baseball returning, right? And how they're still trying to figure all this out, right? So we said something, I think they were doing, what was it, an 86 game schedule or something like that, paying the players 75% of their salary. What we're going to go with right at this point is an over under here on the players opting for a 101 game schedule next year. Now, for those at home who don't like to do math, I went ahead and did it for you. So with the current MLB proposal, that's basically saying if they're going to pay him 75% right now for the number of games they're going to play, 101 games would be 100% of their salary for those games. So I'm going to go ahead and say there's a pick 'em right there. And there's an opportunity to kind of flex and see what you see the labor is going to be for next year to go ahead and predict if the players union is going to opt for less games for the same amount of play. Because what my question is like, look, I don't want to work that hard. I don't want to have to play more games if I don't have to, but 101 games mean that I'm missing out on 61 games, which equates to about math of 61 divided by 3 opportunities to travel and holler at shorties in other cities. So like maybe I do want to travel and play those games because I'll just sit out with like a hangnail or something, or be like, oh man, you know, I like tweak something, walking out of the bus today. I think I need a game out, Skipper. So that's a tough one. That's a pick 'em, but I still think there's money to
You're
be
saying
made there
101
based on how things
games
play out.
next year is what you're saying. 101 games next year, next season,
101
not
games
this
next
season.
year.
Even though they have said that basically this season has to end on time due to TV rights, so there would not necessarily be any impact next year unless there is like a second round of COVID and things get shut down. And so you're saying that we will likely see a shutdown next week. It's a pick 'em, 101 games that we're going to lose 60 games of baseball next year.
That's what I'm saying. It depends. You got to
Wow.
figure it out. Do the athletes want to
True.
not work hard for the money, or do they want to holler at shorties in Milwaukee? You know what I mean? That's where you got to kind of figure out. Play the balance. And
Why
it's, you know, it's tough.
Milwaukee, though?
I don't know.
Well, because it's easy when you talk about LA or Tampa or something. You know what I mean?
Like of all the places to holler at shorties, like, oh man, we coming up on that
Oh,
Milwaukee series.
That's what-
Man,
that's
you
what I'm
guys been to
saying, Scott, though.
Milwaukee?
Like, do you-
Oh man.
yeah, do you want to have to travel and spend 4 days in Milwaukee? Or do you want to travel and spend 4 days in Milwaukee? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're still going to hear a little bit of something.
Drew, what's your next bet?
Yeah, we're
I
moving
don't
on
get
there. All
it.
right, that's fair. So the next one is the NHL will be coming back because they figured their stuff out, right? And I know none of you watch this because no one here does hockey at all, but NBC ran a series of matches with an NHL 20 tournament over, I want to say it was basically May, early June type time. Now, we're not going to find out until the Stanley Cup playoffs are over, but it's an over-under 2.5 fights that we find out happened as a result of disrespect that took place in these online hockey matches. So dudes basically meting out vengeance for stuff that guys said on these live broadcasts in retrospect. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to recommend that you guys take the over on this one, even though it's popping off at a negative 250. Because, like, let's be honest, athletes are petty as hell. And in hockey, where you can fight over almost everything, where you're building up, you know, aggression over a 7-game series, all you got to do is think about that one time you're back on the bench after that shift change and be like, yeah, man, but he mugged me too off of that Game 7 series on NBCSN where nobody was watching, but it just still wasn't right. And next thing you know, gloves are being dropped and punches are being thrown. So
I
go
feel
ahead,
like
hop on that over 2.5 fights.
I feel like you have to take the under because nobody's going to admit that that's why they fought in an NHL game is over a video game that happened previously.
But see, Michael, that's where you're wrong. NHL players love to drink, and they're also very, very respectable. So if someone asks them a question when they've had a couple of bats, they'll open it honestly, and like they won't be mad about it because at the same time, they all know what's up. Because they'll throw fisticuffs and afterwards they'll dap each other and be like, hey, good fight, brother, good fight. They'll admit to it. I'm not worried about that part.
All right, Drew, give me 2 more prop bets.
2 more prop bets. All right. So the next one here, and this is going to be one that honestly this is easy money at all costs here, right? So NASCAR is racing again this weekend because they've been running those cars around a track in circles because that's apparently what they do. How much you want to bet that someone is going to screw up trying to speak about the social injustice and things going on in our world right now? Well, I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm going to take the no on that and a plus 150 because you know what? Ain't no one going to watch to fill the bet. They're going to do it. They're going to get it wrong. They're going to screw up the message, but no one's going to be paying attention. In Vegas themselves will probably fall asleep after the first 15 laps. And so they're not going to be able to go ahead and fill that bet because they won't honestly know what happened. So again, if you really need something, if you're reaching for that late Sunday parlay to go ahead and make back a little bit of money before your old lady yells at you, put a couple dollars down on that no for a plus 150.
Put a couple of them monies down, baby.
Couple little bit of monies, just a couple little bit of
monies, but also they will 100% mess up and it will come out horribly wrong as they try because as soon as Bubba kneels during the national anthem, now that that's not a thing in NASCAR, now that the whole thing about the Confederate flags is, as soon as that happens, the announcers will F this up. I guarantee that will happen in NASCAR this weekend.
Absolutely.
Shake and bake.
Absolutely. Oh,
That's all I got.
All right,
I
last
sipped that one.
last prop bet for the week, Drew.
Last prop bet here, and this is one that, again, this is a bit of a deep cut, so I'm going out there. Some folks, you might need to go to Europe and get some of those offshore books to take this action. But again, if you're trying to chase a loss from earlier in the week, take that no Watt brother will compete in a episode of Ultimate Tag at a plus 110. Pretty even. Honestly, I think it's basically something that's going to happen. But at the same time, for it to actually count, the episode will have to air. And so, though I think Ultimate Tag is the next hotness in sports media, I think the problem is really going to be that Fox will eventually find something else to fill the airwaves based on the very terrible characters they have out there and the way that those guys, like, look, love them to death. They're great football players, but damn it, they don't belong in front of a camera without pads on.
They
So
are
go ahead, take that
awful
no at a
announcers.
plus 110. That's a pure lock. Like, go ahead, throw that future money at it. Go heavy, go hard. Collect that money. It's going to be a while, but I guarantee you that one's going to hit, no doubt.
I don't know what you're talking about. They did some phenomenal acting in that Subway commercial I saw them in.
This is why we named your brother Derek or whatever. What's his
Yeah.
name?
The
What's
one
his
who
name?
doesn't actually play football, because that would be the guy that's going
Not
to play. Because the other two are
JJ
like,
or
no, we got
TJ.
contracts on the line,
You mean Cooper Manning?
right?
Because that's all I know. You said not playing football. Like, they got a Cooper Manning in their family?
This is Drew's. What was it? Mookie's. Sorry,
Mookie's
Mook.
mad props. Get your
Mookie's
shit
mad.
together,
I'm
son.
sorry, man. I'm juggling things. I'm trying to get to the next
You
screen.
had one job.
I have a lot of jobs over here, man. It really sucks. Anyways, thank you, Mookie. Really appreciate it. Real quick, before we get into our next segment here, be sure to go check out the shop, craftbrewsports.com/shop. Gear up. Scott's repping the
Well, now he's invisible.
he disappeared.
I just did it for the effect.
Scott's repping the baseball shirt right now. We got t-shirts, we got tank tops. I wore the tank top at the gym this week. Oh man, did I feel powerful. I was able to deadlift so much more in that Craft Brew Sports tank top, no doubt. That's
I bet
how-
you all the shorties noticed.
all the shorties, and not as many shorties as in Milwaukee, but a lot of shorties.
No, for
did
sure.
notice. Yeah.
Oh, so many shorties in Milwaukee.
Head on over to craftbrewsports.com/shop. Help us out, buy some merch, rep the show, and spread the word about the show. All right,
You can
fellas.
also get those dope ass hats so you can match like us on the broadcast too.
Dude, there's the hats are currently sold out. I'm waiting from the supplier to find out when those are coming back in stock, but hopefully hats are coming back in stock here soon. Let's do some parallel universe here, fellas. I have been I'm vamping as I try to find some music. All right, here we go. I've been doing a lot of reading lately about parallel universes, and essentially what the theory is that
Dude, you need to get the fuck off Twitter.
Dude, I've been down some
Like, I'm
rabbit
gonna be
holes.
honest right now. Like, I'm worried about your mental state if you can keep reading about that.
I've been down some rabbit holes, and it's very scary. But essentially, the way this works is the way parallel universes and the theory behind it is every decision that we make, consciously or subconsciously, leads to a parallel universe. So, like, if you go out of your house and you turn left, in a different universe, you turned right. And there's a whole different universe where something else entirely plays out because of that. So what we wanted to do is explore a parallel universe. And in this parallel universe, this comes from an interview that Derek Jeter did this week, Scott's favorite New York Yankee of all time. Derek Jeter said that he would have left the Yankees if they lost to the Mets in the 2000 World Series. Basically, he said, I'm not staying in New York. If we lose to the Mets, it's done. I'm out of New York. They ended up winning that series. Jeter goes on to have a Hall of Fame career, first ballot Hall of Famer, tons of press. We get the flip play, all this crazy stuff from Jeter, all stemming from that 2000 World Series. So what we want to know is what happens if the Mets win that World Series? Derek Jeter leaves the Yankees. How does this parallel universe play out? Scott, where does Derek Jeter go if he leaves the Yankees?
Let's see. If he leaves the Yankees, he goes to the Marlins. And from there, Matt Barr becomes an even bigger douche because he's a Mets fan and they have one title in his lifetime. And also in this parallel universe, Derek Jeter apparently isn't a liar, because I don't think that if they lost that World Series that he was going anywhere. So cool story, Derek Jeter. But I'll say Marlins.
We're not talking about the validity of his claim. We're talking about it. We've got to take this.
That's fine. I'm just saying he'll end up in Miami, and again, Matt Barr's a bigger douche.
He goes to Miami. I feel like Jeter has to go to another high market team. He's a big market team. He's not going to go to a small market franchise like Miami.
He bought a small market franchise. What are you talking about?
Right, because it's all about the money for Jeter. So he is going to L.A. He's not going to
So
Miami.
He's an angle?
Yeah. No, I think he goes Dodgers. I think Jeter. I think Jeter goes West Coast and he becomes a Dodger. Drew, where do you think Jeter ends up if he leaves the Yankees in this parallel universe?
I think you guys are wasting way too much time on this, because if the Mets win that World Series, the universe ceases to exist.
That's a fair point.
It just collapses.
That happens in a different parallel universe, though. That's a different parallel. This is a parallel universe where we are able to survive.
Where the Mets
Series.
win, the world is allowed to continue.
All right,
I just hope in this parallel universe I'm 6 foot tall.
Can you dunk?
I don't even care. I just want to be taller than 5'7" in this parallel universe. That's all I know.
Would Jeter receive the same attention that he got?
No.
Very
he would
quick.
from the Milwaukee Shorties. He's a good looking guy.
But what if he ended up in Milwaukee with all the shorties?
All the shorties.
Then there's no shorties for anybody else who comes to town to visit.
Exactly. And then they would only play a 101 game season this year or next year.
But then the owners in Milwaukee would have to fold the franchise because nobody wants to come there because all the shorties are gone. So the team moves and they move to San Antonio. So Jeter ends up playing for the San Antonio
I like that.
Sun Barons.
And everything's bigger in Texas, meaning the shorties would be
the shorties are bigger. Oh, okay.
So then Jeter could attract better free agents, and now San Antonio, what would they be? The San Antonio
Sun Barons. The Sun Barons.
The Sun Barons. That's such a terrible name. Hang on. That's like a minor league name. No. They're not the Sun Barons.
What are they doing? Selling solar panels? Scott, get the hell.
Also, whatever page you're on right now, keep that page up. Well, go back. Whatever page you were just on, go back, because you're
the one that's lighting up my face.
Yes, you have disappeared into the shadows again.
See you now,
Scott disappeared into the shadows once again. Go back to whatever page has a white background so that we could see your face on the video. There it is. All right. Thank you. The Sun Barons. Maybe go back to the other page. Yeah, flip back.
You should get more sleep, man.
I really should.
The Sun Barons is such a terrible name. Is Jeter a first ballot Hall of Famer if he doesn't play for the Yankees?
No.
I agree. There's no way.
We've been over this before. No.
Well, because at that point he would have had what, one title?
Yeah. Well, did they have a World Series before that? That's a great
They
question.
won in 96,
okay, so he would have
99, and then that would have been 2000. So he would have already had two titles.
All right, so he would have had two chips.
He'd be on the Eli Manning track.
Oh, he'd be Eli Manning. Damn. That's a hot take there, Mookie. I dig that take.
How long do you think Eli Manning thinks before he tweets nowadays?
Does Eli Manning tweet?
He started up Twitter because of the match.
Remember?
He joined Twitter in order to tweet.
He
was throwing bars left and right. Not like that sideline route he threw to what's his name, that shit ass guy from Michigan.
He did pretty solid during the match. After that, I haven't followed his Twitter. I don't care if Jeter can still buy the Marlins. I had originally put that in our rundown, but the question now remains: does Jeter have the same, let's call it, resume if he left New York? And by resume, I don't mean his all-star appearances, his Gold Gloves. I mean the thing that most people point to when they
chicks
talk.
That he's banged.
Thank you, Scott, for going
let's just put all the cards on the
trying.
table. I've had this conversation a billion times that if you take away his all-star roster of chicks that he's banged, he's just a dude who played baseball.
Man, you remember when?
But does he still land that? Like, let's say he goes to LA. Yes, they put up his starting nine.
That was
and
the best thing ever.
didn't he get with the one girl from Friday Night Lights, Lila?
yeah.
Lila Garrity.
Yeah.
I mean,
she could have a hamburger or two though.
if he goes to L.A., he could still pull in the same resume, right?
No,
the
'cause you compete with
shorties
a different
as-
level of thing.
I mean,
over
it's
there in
not
LA.
Milwaukee, but it's L.A. Like it's a solid group to pick from.
Yeah, but like baseball player doesn't play as well in LA because they got like basketball. They have football players within driving distance back then.
Not then. Not
They
then. They
have
didn't.
Hollywood TV stars.
But that's
They
the thing.
have people
Jeter
with
could.
actual talent and contributions to society.
Dude, Jeter would have been. He would have started the Real House Husbands of L.A. and he would have had a whole spin-off of the Housewives series and killed it. Yes,
Basically,
Matt Barr.
he cleaned up after Giselle and like folded her laundry kind of deal.
Sure. Matt Barr pointing out Mike Trout probably isn't struggling. Guaranteed Mike Trout is not struggling.
No, I can't, because Mike Trout don't care. He's fine. He's good with his Subway sandwiches. He knew him, and he's got his mama to make him, Subway sandwiches.
Scott,
Mike Trout, we're gonna find out in like a couple years. Mike Trout was like bred in the Disney labs,
dude, Mike
just
Trout,
like all the Mouseketeers.
I feel so bad that Mike Trout. We are missing a year of Mike Trout. This dude is gonna go down as one of the best baseball players to ever play the game, and we are missing a year of him playing because of this.
Yeah, and no one's
bullshit.
gonna care because the shit he does is so boring.
No,
Like,
and
Way to catch
more,
that routine fly ball.
More to the point, Ted Williams missed because of World War II. It's fine. It's no big deal.
See, that's tragic though.
All right, thank you guys for indulging me in this parallel universe. I appreciate it. Scott, I know you watched the Bruce Lee Be Water 30 for 30. This is what we're going to call red eye reviews. This is where Scott gets inebriated and then watches something and then tries to recap it for us. So, Scott, I'm going to hand it over to you. Hit us up with your red eye review for the Bruce Lee 30 for 30.
Okay, so I wasn't entirely sure what to expect because there was that biopic. Did you guys ever see that? I think it was called it was just called Dragon back in like the early 90s.
I did not.
You did not. Okay. Well,
No.
I watched that movie multiple times and it was basically like just a Bruce Lee biopic. So a bunch of it was like kind of just a reminder and like filler where it's just like, oh, okay, I remember that. But overall, as far as 30 for 30s go, super good. Very tragic that he, died so young. And I was kind of, I don't want to say shocked, but I guess I didn't really realize how much of an impact he had, like culturally, just throughout the world. He was a pretty big figure for having died at 34, I believe, 32, somewhere around there.
32,
Like,
I think.
yeah, the fact
Yeah.
that he was like our age when he died and is such a big figure, like I was kind of amazed. I started to tear up just a little bit. Not like Jordan tearing up because that's a different level of tearing up.
You didn't have to change your pants, did you?
No. There was no pants changing or anything like that. I held it together, but no, it was really, really well done by ESPN and everybody that was involved in putting that together. So out of all the 30 for 30s, especially some of the more recent ones where it's like, they focused like last week, they had the one, or the last 2 weeks prior, they had the one on Lance. And, it's different when you see something on a figure that's not very likable. But then you have Bruce Lee, who was super likable and just had this whole positive outlook on life. And very rare that we sit here and talk about somebody and a sports figure that didn't have anything super controversial happen or anything that
Whoa, dude, we talked about MJ earlier. What are you talking about?
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. He was a sports figure that didn't have anything controversial happen in his life. Like
Mike
the most
didn't do anything
controversial.
wrong.
I mean, as much as I love Mike, there's still controversial things that have happened. But the fact that it was also super timely because he was sitting there fighting for change with, being Asian and everything. And, like powered through all of that. Like I was super impressed. Like, but it was, again, kind of sad that here we are talking in 2020 about Confederate flags being removed from frickin' NASCAR, and he was out here fighting these battles in the 60s and 70s. But just a really well done 30 for 30, and I loved every bit of it. So if you get a chance, check out Be Like Water.
Scott, thank you for the red eye review of Be Water.
So wait, do you give it what is the rating scale with red eye review? I feel like we need to get something there.
On a scale of 0 to 2 red eyes, how good is this one?
Ooh, or on a scale of 0 or to like OG Kush.
Ooh, the reddest of the eyes.
Yeah, that Northern Lights.
Yeah.
Let's do this again next
buddy.
week. Let's do this again next week. We'll do a red eye review of the Sosa McGuire 30 for 30.
Or we'll just do a whole show dedicated to it. Because
it's probably gonna be. Yeah, that's probably exactly what's gonna happen.
We'll just move.
Hey man, if we stitch together a show this week, we can always find something to yammer about for 65 minutes.
That's fine, and if not, we'll just mute you, and it'll just be me and Mike talking about steroids and baseball.
Look, man, I'm not trying to hate on Sosa McGuire. I love that. That was the most entertaining thing. Coming home or waking up in the morning, watching Sports Center, seeing what happened last night, coming home from school and seeing what happened that day. That was the epitome of baseball to me.
I feel like I'm not going to be
about doubles, singles, whatever, but like that was a great time.
I'm not going to be able to wait until Wednesday to talk about that 30 for 30. Like we're going to need to do a show Monday night because that's how we might need to do it after that episode airs.
Was it Sunday?
Yeah, it's Sunday
It
night.
airs Sunday.
Real quick, guys, before we get out of here tonight, I had one more thing that we wanted to do tonight. Real quick, motherfucker of the week, Duke's athletic director, who makes $1.5 million a year, came out this week and said he doesn't agree with letting athletes make money off of their name and likeness. He is worried that it may affect recruiting. All of this...
Yeah.
All of this while Zion Williamson is under investigation and is going to have to testify about the luxury cars and the house. Yes, he is going to have to go on the stand and defend the fact that he, quote, didn't get any money from Duke to play at Duke. This week's Motherfucker of the Week, I'm not even going to...
Nope, wrong.
What?
Still William Sweeney. Fuck that guy.
Well, yeah, that's a fair point. There's a lot of motherfucker of the week to choose from, but this week I am going with Duke's athletic director. He's a motherfucker, dude. Come on, you make $1.5 million.
I love that Danny DeVito drop. I love it. Still love it to this day.
Guys, it's time for last call. This is brought to you by Tavor. Use the code 258023. You can get $10 off your second order. We just got a shipment today from the show. It is 2 boxes of beer. I felt dirty. Yeah. It's so much beer. My wife was like, what did you get? I'm like, it's show beers. Don't worry about it. Use the code 258023. Get $10
That's
off.
why I told mine too.
$10 off your second order. This week we were drinking Double Citrus Imperial IPA from Funk Brewing. We were rating this one on a scale of Mitch Trubisky to Patrick Mahomes. Scott, where did Double Citrus fall on your rating this week?
I'm going to still go with my boy Jimmy G because it stood up and it made the championship game, and it came up short, but it's still a very solid beer, so I'm going to go with Jimmy G.
Good answer. Drew, on a scale of Mitch Trubisky to Patty Mahomes, where does this one fall for you?
I'm going with Nick Foles. Like, it can step in a situation, carry you for a couple games, maybe get you a nice win for the season. But if you're going to drink this for a whole 16-game schedule, you're going to have a foam all over your computer, and it's not a great time. And, you're going to really wish you didn't sign into that big-ass contract. Like, it tastes good. It's not I don't know. It was lacking something. I didn't like the reactiveness of it in the glass. Like, it's all right. Serviceable.
I'm gonna put this one at Gardner Minshew. It was I had a lot of excitement about this one, and it was okay for a while, and then it was like that was a thing that happened. I was expecting a little bit more out of it, although 8%, it's done its job for me today. But there was I got no Valencia oranges. I got no papaya. I didn't get any mango. possibly a little bit of grapefruit. It was a good IPA, but it was lacking in some areas. But the can looks cool, similar to Gardner Minshew's mustache. So that's why I'm going to go Gardner Minshew on this one. This has been Last Call, brought to you by Tavor. Again, use the code 258023 for $10 off your second order.
Also, real quick shout out to Devore too, though. Let's not overlook the fact that they've gotten involved in things lately too. So in the last week alone, they've actually had some beers that have benefited cancer research, and also they had another one that have helped. That was the proceeds were going to help fix social injustice and police brutality type efforts too. So
Yes.
I want to make sure we give them credit for that where credit's due, because again, it's not that just they sell great beers from across the country that you can't get in your home state, but they're also out there doing something better too. They're smart. They're supporting small business. They're supporting the causes that matter right now, and they're getting involved. Fuck you, Scott. All right.
I know that was just for my benefit.
I know. I'm trying. No, it's not even for your benefit, man. I'm just trying to get the words out there to make sure people understand what the company's all about. Because at this point in time, you hear all these empty ass words that people sometimes put out with statements and whatever. But Devore, they're doing something good. They're supporting businesses and companies that matter and trying to make an impact. So, look, the benefit is you get to drink beer and feel good about it, and more importantly, like, the money goes somewhere good. So
They are
I had to
not
throw
the
that one in there.
NFL when it comes to making a
It's
statement.
not.
No,
Yes,
they ain't
it's
no
not
robot
just lip
Roger over
service
here.
at this point. Thank you, Drew, for that. That's
Sorry, I
a
had to
great
throw
call.
it in,
No,
man.
it's a
It's
great
like
call.
I
out.
said, yeah.
I'm really glad you did bring that up. This has been a damn fine show. Thank you, fellas. Real fun time. I enjoyed it. Thank you to all of you that listened and chimed in and shared the show, commented. We really appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. We're everywhere. We're on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, wherever. Follow the show in between shows on Twitter and Instagram at CraftBee Sports. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. We also put the show live. We go live on YouTube there as well. Fellas, it's been a damn good time. Thank you all very much. We will see you guys next week. Cheers, everybody.
We out. Peace.
Yes, sir.